My topic is on the relationships and benefits between green environmental sustainable practice and human health and wellness. The green movement encompasses many different facets of the environmental issue and can include the outdoor environment as well as the indoor environment and workplace environments. So, what does green movement mean? It means implementing certain lifestyle changes designed to help you in a more eco friendly way. It means becoming more environmentally aware and changing your behavior and lifestyle to reduce the amount of pollution and waste you generate. That's according to Santa Clarita Environmental Education Consortium, or the SCEEC. Um, I like to define it like this: living by a plan for the conservation of planetary resources, developing energy methods that are sustainable and non harmful to the environment, developing living and workplaces that utilize energy and resources in an efficient and environmentally friendly way. This includes the proper handling of waste and providing a healthy and sanitary space for working and living, to provide for green outdoor spaces to the public, to encourage interaction with nature, and the promotion of physical activity. For the purpose of this paper, I will work within these definitions. I hope to examine how this movement promotes and benefits human health and wellness by providing healthier, safer, and mentally soothing working and living spaces to both the indoor and outdoor environments. Though the green movement is often looked at as describing the big picture on a global or planetary scale with its environmental concerns, it also holds true on a smaller scale and points to the individual and local communities, states, and countries as having a fundamental and foundational part in improving the viability and sustainability of our finite resources by improving how our immediate living spaces, outdoor and working environments conserve these resources, thus contributing to the big picture goals. This improvement of environmental conditions and resource usage, inside and outside, also has a direct bearing on human overall health and wellness of the individual and of the populations involved. By encouraging responsible management of our natural resources, outdoor and indoor spaces, energy production and usage, and construction of our living, working, and play spaces, this can have a direct and positive impact on human health and wellness. A healthy environment, locally and globally, can and will produce healthier people and improve their wellness and mental states of mind. This improved health and wellness will be the result of providing outdoor physical activity spaces, breathing cleaner air, eating healthier foods, and drinking pure clean water, and from living in safe and secure homes that are free from pollutants, harmful chemicals, and pathogens, including dirty pests and rodents. This management should include local green spaces such as parks and reserves that encourage interaction with the outdoor environment, as well as activity centers with close, local, easy, and free access. In a Danish study by Ulrika K. Stitzdatter, a direct relationship was shown to the use of green spaces in improving the perceived health and reduced stresses in the lives of the study participants. The closeness and accessibility of green outdoor spaces, was a key element of these results. Many research studies focusing on environmental preferences and mental restorations restoration have compared urban environments that have some nature elements with urban environments that have no nature elements at all. These studies show that the urban environments with some nature elements are associated with lower perceived stress than are urban environments without such elements. That's a quote from Ulrika. She also points to the negative impacts on health that a lack of outdoor green environments may contribute to. Quote again: however, due to the increased number of people moving to cities, urban green spaces are under constant threat of being transformed into new infrastructure and housing areas, resulting in a dense city with fewer outdoor places for physical activities and mental restoration. Generally, people in the industrial world increasingly live their lives separated from nature, spending much of their time indoors and physically inactive. The current rapid rise in obesity, diabetes 2, osteoporosis, and stress-related illnesses such as heart disease, depression, and mental fatigue is thought to be related to these new circumstances of modern urban living. Let's start with our indoor environment and how that affects our health and wellness. Our indoor environmental quality, or the IEQ, includes the air we are breathing. Is it clean? Air circulation, the acoustics of a building, the materials used in construction of a building. Are they healthy? Do they give off poisonous gases and VOCs? The amount of daylight and the visual aspects inside the building. Is the water clean, healthy, and pollutant free? IEQ is not a new idea. When it comes to public health, as Nancy M. Wells and Joseph LaQuarta point out, recognition of the links between housing and or neighborhood environments and health date back to the 1800s when cholera, tuberculosis, and typhus swept through urban areas in the United States and abroad. That's a quote from Wells. However, what has changed is the way we approach the issue, as they state further in the article, with a shift from, quote, a reactive disease treatment approach characteristic of the early public health focus on infectious disease to today's proactive health promotion strategies for dealing with chronic disease. End of quote. And a part of this approach is how we now see and create our indoor environmental quality, or IEQ, to be energy and resource efficient, free from construction contaminants and chemical fumes, health promoting, and sustainable. Current issues in health environments, both inside and outside the home or business, are number one, outdoor air quality. Poor air quality is linked to premature death, cancer, and long-term damage to respiratory and cardiovascular systems. Progress has been made to reduce unhealthy air emissions, but as of 2008, approximately 127 million people lived in U.S. counties that exceeded national air quality standards. Decreasing air pollution is an important step in creating a healthy environment. 2. Surface and groundwater. Surface and groundwater quality applies to both drinking water and recreational waters. Contamination by infectious agents or chemicals can cause mild to severe illness. Protecting water sources and minimizing exposure to contaminated water sources are important parts of environmental health. 3. Toxic substances and hazardous waste. The health effects of toxic substances and hazardous waste are not yet fully understood. Research to better understand how these exposures may impact health is ongoing. Meanwhile, efforts to reduce exposure continues. Reducing exposure to toxic substances and hazardous waste is fundamental to environmental health. And I might add to human health too. We can all relate to what has happened as a result of the widespread use of asbestos in construction. I am old enough to remember when asbestos was advertised in magazines and newspapers as the wonder material. Now it's the leading cause of melanthelioma. I can't pronounce it properly, but a disease of the lung, a cancerous disease of the lung that is killing people all over. To continue, number 4, homes and communities. People spend most of their time at home, work, or school. Some of these environments may expose people to indoor air pollution, inadequate heating and sanitation, structural problems, electrical and fire hazards, lead-based paint hazards. These hazards can impact health and safety. Maintaining healthy homes and communities is essential to environmental health. Healthy consumables, air, water, food, and clean sanitary living conditions promote, again, improved health and wellness in people. Having a safe and secure place to live, free from harmful chemicals, with clean air, clean fresh water, and healthy food choices improves the health and well-being of people and populations. The homes and communities that look to responsible use and management of resources do provide healthy places to live and work while embracing energy and resource conservation with an eye to present and future generations. What can be done to improve the indoor environment and promote better health? Well, first thing we can start with is clean air. Air pollution and air quality is as much an issue today as it has always been. Besides, the harmful chemicals and particulates in dirty air can affect lung health. A quality air cleaner, air filter in the heating and air conditioning unit can help to improve by removing a large portion of the particulates. Um, and I stress a high quality air filter. You can buy cheap ones, but the particulates in the air don't get filtered out. They just continue to circulate around. There are certain plants, like the silver birch tree, which can collect particulates around the outside of your home because they have hairy leaves and they actually trap these airborne particulates. This works really well if your house or your home is located on or near a busy street where you're getting exhaust gases, and they will actually trap a large percentage of exhaust pollutants before they reach your home. Number two, clean drinking water resources. Um, I can remember when I was young drinking out of the water hose without it being an issue, but that's not the case anymore. Five of my children were born in Corona, California, and when my wife was pregnant with each of them, we received, just like clockwork, as soon as she was notified that she was pregnant, we received a notice from the water district that she should not drink the water as it has too many known nitrites in the water and could cause birth defects. Now, Corona's water table actually originates from underneath the Chino Valley. So I kind of looked it up, and found that the whole water table that extends under the Chino Valley, from over 100 years of being used as a dairy production area, that all the nitrites from the cattle waste had actually leached down into the water table and polluted it. So the moral of the story is don't trust your tap water. Better way is to filter your water or buy purified water. A caution with that too, though, is to I know reverse osmosis is real popular in some extreme filtration systems. We don't want dead water. Healthy water has minerals and certain things in it. And some of the water cleansing processes can remove everything, just leaving you with dead, empty water. So make sure it's a healthy water. Number three, waste management. This is not as much of an issue probably in America, though I've been in some homes where I might question their practices. But in many parts of the world, household waste management is still very much an issue. And this also goes along with human waste. If we look into areas of India and see some of their ways that they've dealt with human waste and household waste by just pouring it out into the street, which in the rainy season just gets washed into the water supplies. And we can see the results of that. That is a country that is rampant with sicknesses and disease that have been caused by poor water management. You can look into the problems that have been created and that still exist in India to quickly see the effects of improper waste management. Number four is energy usage, energy provisions, and energy waste. Our energy usage in our homes may not seem to be a health issue, but we got to remember that we live on the grid, and that the energy we use is produced somewhere, and there is always an environmental impact attached to its production. And being in one of my classes is California history, I'm getting in really deep on just how much environmental impact the LA area's demand for water has caused on the state of California, the Colorado River, the Owens Valley, through the damming and the redirection of those water resources. So there is always an impact when we turn on that light switch. So conservation is the key word. And the benefit is you turn off a light, you're going to save some money. Number five, I just kind of listed as pollution and toxins just in general. This is, pollution that's in the air and the water and the soil. But this is also a big issue in our homes. And a lot of these chemicals are things you bought down at the local grocery store and are underneath the kitchen sink as cleaning supplies. Uh, it's great to have cleaning supplies at work, but it's wise to know and to understand the chemicals that are in the cleaners that you use and choose. Maybe it's bug sprays. I remember my wife was always getting a can of Raid, and every time something would crawl across the floor, it was zap. Well, it killed the bug, but I never thought about it then, but how much of that was going on and around inside the house afterwards. Uh, Also, weed killers, things we use outside and around the house and the garden. Uh, One note on this is that so many of the chemicals that we've used in the past as cleansers and as poisons for bugs and for weed control, there has today been produced healthy and healthier, environmentally and for us personally, um, choices. So I would advise that you look those things up and just grab one of the cans or bottles from underneath and look on the back, see what it has, and see what kind of alternatives are out there because there are a lot of good alternatives on the market today. I would name a few, but this is not a commercial. 6. Maintenance of a healthy ecosystem and subsystems. Um, this one I probably could have expanded quite a bit, but because of time and space constraints, I just wanted to focus on water because we live in Southern California and it's hard to realize when we walk around our neighborhoods and our communities that for us to realize that we are actually a desert. California or Southern California, the Los Angeles basin did not look like this 200 years ago. Um, there was no water here. It looked just like a desert because it was. Very low precipitation annually, no water resources above ground. I mean, the LA basin, the LA River maybe, and a little bit from the Santa Ana River, whatever came out of the mountains. But basically, Los Angeles and most of Southern California looks the way it does because we irrigate. And we irrigate with water that really isn't ours. It comes from somewhere else. We have aqueducts that run from the Owens Valley and has diverted and drained the entire Owens Valley to supply LA through the LA Aqueduct. And we also have an aqueduct that runs from the Colorado River and various aqueduct systems that run to some of our local reservoirs, but they all come from somewhere else other than here. Right now we're in a drought, and so it's just a good heads up that if we want to keep this ecosystem that we live in, we have to recognize our limitations, and water conservation is something that is just good, and it's going to contribute to our health, the health of the environment, the health of the state, and the health of our future generations. 7 is kind of a yucky one, yeah. Pests, not pets. I hope none of you have pets that are bugs or rodents, but if you do, heads up. Pests, rodents, and bugs. A clean home will help to prevent these pests from coming to live with you. And once you have them, you got to get rid of them because many of these carry health and diseases, health issues and disease issues. I remember reading about a toxin that was being let off by mice excrement inside the homes and was causing lung issues up in Beaumont as recently as a couple of years ago. Uh, we know the history of the Black Plague, which was carried by the fleas that lived on the backs of rats. And there's many venomous um, uh, bugs out there. They don't have to be just a black widow spider or a black recluse or something, because a lot of people carry an intolerance or an allergic reaction to simple bug bites. So keeping our house free from pests, rodents, and bugs is going to be a good practice and help to improve our health and lower our rate of sickness. Uh, Another one of which I have had friends with personal histories with this is the water or dampness in the home that will lead to molds and mildew. Black mold was a big issue for a long time. In fact, it still is. I had a leak in one of my homes, and black mold was discovered once we removed the drywall, and it had to be professionally eradicated. And not only somebody could just come in and spray, the entire side of the house had to be isolated and then dehumidified, and then guys with masks and breathing apparatus went in there and sprayed killers to kill the mold and mildew at its source. So it is a big issue. Molds and mildews, they thrive in wet and damp areas. They've also been known to cause disease and severe health issues if the spores are breathed in. That's one of the reasons. If you see it, hold your breath and cover it up and call somebody who knows how to deal with it. And I've put a note here that this really is not a do-it-yourself fix, and it needs to be treated and resolved by professionals. Another one that's often overlooked in our homes is using safe construction materials. And by that I mean safe building materials that are toxin free. This area is one that we've heard about, like I previously mentioned with the building material asbestos. I went to school in schools that had asbestos for the flooring. The tile in the flooring was made of asbestos, and the water pipes, in order to prevent heat loss and dampness, were wrapped in a asbestos wrap. And we were exposed to all this, but back then it was a wonder material. Nobody knew. But now we know the health issues that went on with that. But there are other things that are ongoing today. So you want to make sure that if you have a question, check out, see if you have lead in your paints in the house. So make sure that if you get new carpet, you look at the back and it's a low VOC or volatile organic compounds product, and that it won't emit fumes as it gets older and is being used in your house. Formaldehyde, another thing that's used in a lot of paneling and wood construction products. These things can leach toxins into our living environment, and so it's just good heads up to know what you're using and what you're using is made out of when you're living in a home, building a home, or doing a home improvement or something like that. In a study given by David E. Jacobs on health and housing outcomes from green renovation of low-income housing in Washington, D.C., Dr. Jacobs concludes in his paper, and this is a quote, incorporating enterprise green communities and LEED standards in low-income housing renovation improves health and housing conditions. Such standards should be included in designs and, where required, implemented through local law or incentives to help contain avoidable medical care expenses and reduce the suffering from poor health associated with inadequate housing. End of quote. Jacobs' study numbers show a marked improvement in the overall health and wellness of the group studied over the original baseline assessments. The study showed the highest improvements in adult and child overall health, and especially high in child mental health. Our environments do matter to how we see and feel our environment, as well as our physical health. The reverse of creating and maintaining healthy environments is also true. We can see from the past and in many parts of the current world the mismanagement of resources that have polluted our air and water, and our land misusages that have created unhealthy conditions for life, and still these practices have continued. These have had a costly effect not only economically and environmentally, but in the health and welfare of the peoples living in and around these places. In doing research for this, I watched a video on a company in India that is still using asbestos products for cheap roofing for all of the inhabitants of India, and it's still legal. And what's amazing is that it's actually being imported from, of all places, Canada, a place that it is illegal to use, yet they legally sell it to a third world country I don't know, maybe I can't even call India a third world country, but definitely a country that has lower environmental standards than we have. And people are dying from this. It was a very sobering video I watched. I wish I could have incorporated it, but I've never done a PowerPoint before, so I'm having a hard time figuring this one out. Physical health can be promoted by offering a place outdoors in nature and an opportunity to get out in it. Communities with parks and active outdoor spaces often are filled with people using them for physical activities as well as enjoying a refreshing outdoor environment. One of the problems affecting health and wellness is that everyone does not have easy access to these types of spaces. Some can't use them because of the distance from where they live, and others for safety issues that sometimes exist in these places. Girls, don't be out walking in a park alone. Heads up. Local parks and green spaces could be built to provide more people access to them and incorporate built-in features that encourage activities such as walking and bike trails, exercise challenges. Even if you have a sign posted by some of the trees, it'll cause you to stop, ponder, look, and you learn a little bit about the botany too. And descriptions of features like tree and plant life that would promote people to pause and reflect on their surroundings. Mental health has many contributing factors as well. There is, however, a positive aspect from clean, efficient living spaces that would contribute positively towards mental health and overall wellness. I would think that the first would be a reduced stress environment that would be the result of having a clean and sanitary living space that provides warmth, protection, and a visual appeal. There is a contentment factor in some mental issues that peaceful living surroundings will soothe and reinforce. In conclusion, there has been little physical study done that offers a true comparison of health and wellness versus compared to before and after living in a green, environmentally conscious home or community. There are some, most of them have been European. America's a little bit behind the times in this. So it would seem that more studies of that nature needs to be given and taken. Though some of the studies I have seen point to a marked increase in overall population health and wellness when the green environments were incorporated into homes, workspaces, and outdoor spaces, it seems reasonable that better living, health, and wellness would come naturally as a result of living in better environments and having access to healthy food, water, safe and secure outdoor spaces that put us in touch with a living and flourishing natural environment. Neil Weddingham, a urban planner, comes to the same conclusion in his paper, Towards a Healthy City, an urban planner's reflection on health and well-being. Whittingham points to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and holds for complete human health and wellness a person's physiological, food, shelter, freedom from pain, survival, and safety needs, protection, security, environment free from threat or hazard, must be met and built upon. He states, and I quote, the linkages between environmental and spatial policies and health at the city region level can be vital, being seen as either part of the quest for sustainable development and or with environmental mastery being seen as a significant component of physiological well-being. Not only mental health is at stake, however. Certain urban environments can induce obesity through the need for a car to travel to work and or take children to school, or lack of convenient access to fresh foods and open spaces. For example, socioeconomic and environmental detriments then can be considered to have a significant impact on both physical and psychological well-being. The connection between our environments and our health and well-being is deeply intertwined. And the more you look into its effects on a global scale, the more noticeable it becomes. Just becoming aware of how conditions affect my health has made a difference in how I approach life and the environments I live in. The impacts on health and wellness by unfit water, polluted lands, unhealthy air quality, in addition to a lack of readily available green outdoor environments as found in many of our urban environments, is obvious. Healthy living and working environments lead to healthy people. What can personally be done to conserve, recycle, and manage our water and energy resources? That's something for you to contemplate. Besides environment and resources, what part can awareness and education play in promoting healthy living environments and planning for a sustainable future for our finite resources? Another great question to ponder. Seeing the connections between all aspects of life and the environment we live in could be a step in the right direction towards healthier homes, workplaces, and communities. Thank you so much for listening.